mindfulness. We're all one body in the next reality. All one, no one, no. Yes, I'm sure, I'm sure. So let's be all this and let's be more. I want to be all this, oh, let's be more, more. Oh, come on, let's be all this, let's be more. Let's be more. Thank you so much. Thank you. Ricardo Romero, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Please give a warm welcome home to Reverend Cece Coltrain.
Beloved Linda. Wow. Am I on? Yes? Okay. It really is like coming home. It's amazing. I've seen so many people. I first walked into the Church of Religious Science, Salt Lake Church of Religious Science in 1986. And a year later, Raj walked in. And, it's amazing how many people I've known here for so many years. It is so much like being home. This community has meant so much to me because I wandered in here really in a bad way. I think I was, I think I was about 60 days sober when I first walked in the doors. And life was crazy and scary and weird. And I hung around for a while, and then when Reverend Donald showed up, I don't know why, I just found myself signing up for a foundations class and never looked back. When I was done with everything that he could teach me, I said, okay, now what? And Spirit said, now it's time for you to become a minister. And I said, you got to be kidding. You must be kidding. And it was clear that God was not kidding. And so I went through the Holmes Institute and walked in the very first class I was in, and it was like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where my gift is to be given. And I've really loved, they used to say, they still do, they say that lawyers have a love-hate relationship with their jobs. And with ministry, it's been love the whole way. Even during the times when I felt like, one of the things it definitely does is knock your sharp corners off. And that can be kind of ouchy. But even then, it's been so clear to me that the perfection of it all. So I have been with the Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Dayton, for 12 years, and I still love it, and they still love me, and I feel very blessed for that. This month, the topic is that was sort of handed down, which I love. I love having a topic that everybody's talking about, clear around the world. It was handed down as love as safety. And what that means is, one of our shared values is the sense of safety in spiritual community. And the way that we get that in my book is through the development, the uncovering and development of the unconditional love that we are. And I want to start with a passage from a novel. The novel is by Willa Cather, and it's called Death Comes for the Archbishop. And it's a little piece of dialogue. The bishop said, "Where there is great love, there are always miracles." One might say that an apparition, a vision, is human vision corrected by divine love. The miracles of the church seem to me to rest not so much on faces or voices of healing power coming suddenly from far off, but upon our perceptions being made finer, so that for a moment our eyes can see and our ears can hear what is there about us always. I love that passage because I think it's really true. What a miracle is when we have those moments where our vision is no longer merely human, but comes from divine love. And A Course in Miracles says the greatest miracle one can achieve is awareness of love's presence. That's, see, what we call miracles, these moments of transformation or these life-changing events, those occur naturally as the result of love. If we let it, if we let them, and if we let ourselves enter fully into that love. What happens is that when love is exchanged, the laws of the physical world get reversed and miracles transpire. And the end effect of the miracle is a higher state of being. A higher state of being, not merely for the one who's giving the love, and not merely for the one who's receiving the love, but for everyone who's in the vicinity. Because you've all, this has happened to you. You see a moment of such tender love, and you are changed by it even though you're 10 feet away. Do you remember that? There was a little video making the rounds on social media a while ago of a policeman who went and found some boots and came and put them on the feet of a homeless man. I'm sure many of you saw it. That video was miraculous in what it did to people watching it. It was such a beautiful, unconditional exchange of love. It was freezing cold in New York City, and here's a guy in bare feet living on the street, and this policeman could not pass it by. It was beautiful. So the kind of love, I need to clarify something, because the kind of love that brings miracles about isn't the kind of love we all grew up thinking about. It's been said that that's not love but business. It's a swap, right? I grew up doing business with my parents. If I behaved the way they wanted me to, I might get some love, usually. Sometimes not, but you know, the rules in my house changed a lot. But if I managed to hit it right, I would get some love. And you know, I came of age like many of you, I'm not saying who, but many of you, in the 70s. And we traded sex for love. That was the currency, right? You don't have to raise your hands. I know you all know. I know you all know. And I grew up thinking if I got married, I would have love. And none of those business deals ever brought me the love I was looking for. None of those business deals ever did it, because the love that was the miracle, this thing that made my perceptions finer so that I could see and hear what was all around me, that's a different kind of love. It's a different kind of love entirely. And I first caught glimpses of it because of two people who showed it to me. And one was my sister, Molly, who's always loved me unconditionally. Lord knows how she could manage to do that, because I was such a bratty kid. But she loved me unconditionally my whole life, and I her. And 31 years ago, she loved me so much that she said, go to an AA meeting. If you can't do it for you, do it for me. So I did. I went to my first AA meetings for her because I loved her. And ultimately, they became for me. And so I'm alive. In fact, I'm sure I would not have been had it not been for that outpouring of unconditional love from her. And then a couple of years later, you know, something happens in early sobriety when the anesthetic effect wears off and you start to feel. Ugh. It's very difficult for someone who's been running away from feelings all her life to suddenly have this maelstrom of everything going on. And I was miserable. And a woman decided she wanted to be my friend. Well, I didn't know how to be anybody's friend. You all scared me to death. And I didn't understand how to, she would not go away. No matter what I said or did, she just kept hanging around, showing me love. And all of a sudden, I opened up a little bit and I started to love her back. And she showed me how powerful a healer, that kind of, you don't have to do anything, I just want to be near you kind of friendship, love. What a healing that can bring about. It's enormous. Those were miraculous experiences because they showed me what the real miraculous power of the universe is. It's love. It's not anything else. It's love. It's unconditional. And it's the kind of thing that we already possess. It is who we are at our deepest self. And these two women helped me catch a glimpse of that which was already inside me. And it began to grow, and it really began to grow when I came around here, because that was what really Ernest Holmes, our founder, was all about. You know, he said in his later years, he said, if I had it to do over again, I'd have paid more attention to the love, because that's the fuel behind everything, right? Love is the thing that changes the universe, and it's the thing that created the universe. It's the thing that created us. Spirit so loved creating and seeing itself in its own creation that it just kept on, and here we are. And it continues all the time, right? Creation never ended. It's always going on. And that love, as it grew, allowed me to do things I never thought I could do, and to become someone I never thought I could be. Ernest Holmes said this. He said, love is at the center of man's being, and all the calm, continuous pulsations of life are governed by it. All life is bound together by one common law of love, and love is the self-givingness of spirit. The essence of love, while elusive, pervades everything. It fires the heart. It stimulates the emotions. It renews the soul, and it proclaims the spirit. Words cannot express its depth or meaning. A universal sense alone bears witness to the divine fact. God is love, and love is God. See, this kind of love we can't get. It's what we are. And living a spiritual life is peeling off the layers of crap we've piled on top of it. The baggage, the bruises, the heartbreak, the neuroses, the I'm not enoughness. We just keep peeling it off and uncovering it so that our perceptions become keener and keener, and we can start to see what's about us and in us all the time. When we experience that shift, you know, every time we make a shift from fear to love, from anger to forgiveness, from pain to faith, from despair to hope, that's a miracle of love. That is a miracle of love. We shift to what we already are, beneath all the baggage, beneath all the mistaken thinking, beneath all the scars. We shift into this place right at our center, that thing that's governing all those calm pulsations of life. You know, we just keep breathing, and it's so easy, we don't have to think about it. Our hearts keep beating, and our blood keeps flowing, and we keep living and having ideas and feelings, and it all just happens out of love. It's that in itself is miraculous enough. Whenever I think about it, you know, it all just goes on, and all I have to do is take a breath. I don't even have to do that. It does me, right? And here is this amazing thing called life unfolding out of that love. It's quite miraculous. And it's that love that brings us that sense of safety and belonging that we're looking for. Because we start to see it in each other, and we know we're connected through it. It's what ties us all together in this infinite web of life. Love is the glue. And we make those shifts from fear to faith, and from pain to hope, and from anger to forgiveness, and from despair to face. We make those shifts by choosing love. Stop and think about your spiritual heroes. Who are the people who really light you on fire? You know, maybe it's Mahatma Gandhi or Malala or Desmond Tutu, who's one of my favorites, the Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa, whoever it is. Think about that spiritual hero and what it is in you, in them that you admire. And can you see that all of the qualities that they display in the world are either love arising or a product of love? Our spiritual heroes are those who are bold enough to act in the world from the love that they are. Regardless of what people think, regardless of what might happen to their physical selves, they are powered by love. It's an unconditional regard for the rest of creation. And that fuels them. That's what they act from. And I have to tell you a secret. You wouldn't recognize that stuff in them if it wasn't in you already. We don't recognize things that we don't possess already, because our whole life is mediated by our own consciousness. And we catch glimpses in somebody else of something that is maybe small and unexpressed in us, but there nonetheless. So when you think about your spiritual heroes, know that the qualities you admire are your qualities, and let them be expressed more fully in you. That's who you came here to be, right? It's the love that draws you to itself. You already have that kind of love within you. It is who you are. It is who you are. And love is at our deepest core, as Ernest Holmes said. And we are here simply, I think, to peel off the layers. We're here to uncover that which we were created as, which is love. And so I'm going to offer you some brief ideas, some sort of mindsets that have helped me peel off the baggage so that I could be more expressive of love. And the first one is that I choose to be kind. When we choose kindness, for kindness' sake, we don't choose, it's not a business deal, I'm saying, is what I want to say. We're not being kind so someone else will be kind to us. We're just being kind. We're choosing kindness. Whether that kindness is not saying something when a word would cause somebody pain, or whether it's putting a $50 bill in somebody's mailbox, somebody you know is really hurting, or whether it's mowing your neighbor's lawn when you mow your own, or shoveling your neighbor's sidewalks. It's coming. It's coming. We can't keep it off forever. I know that. Shoveling your neighbor's sidewalks. Oh, one of my favorites is what happens when somebody pays for coffee in the car, the drive-through in the car behind them, and starts a 45-minute chain of paying for the guy in back of you. Those kinds of things are amazing demonstrations of what a little kindness can do. Gratitude. Gratitude is the thing that connects us to the love that we are. And it turns the most mundane experience into a miracle. It truly does when we stop to be grateful for it. If you've ever had the opportunity to be with someone who's just taken their last breath, you know what gratitude for every breath is all about. That happened to me a week ago with a very dear congregant and friend of mine, and it made me so unutterably grateful just to be able to take a breath in the morning. Gratitude helps us experience those miracles of love that are happening all around us. It clears our vision. It sharpens our perception. And even the biggest miracle fades if we don't appreciate it with gratitude, right? The greatest transformations of our lives will happen, and then we go, oh yeah, that happened. Unless we take the time to stop and be grateful that we're not there anymore. I'm so grateful for what happened to me 31 years ago, and what happened to me 30 years ago, and all those transformations that completely took me off a path and set me on a new one. It is miraculous to me. And this one's the really hard one. Unconditional forgiveness. Forgiveness opens us to love. It's been said that to forgive is the highest and most beautiful form of love. And in return, we receive untold peace and happiness. And yet we still think that many things are unforgivable. Some really wise people teach us that anything is forgivable. There was a man in Australia whose name is Sandy McGregor, and his teenage daughters were home alone and somebody came in and shot them all dead. Most of us couldn't even come back from something like that, but this man not only came back, he found a way to forgive those people, and he wrote a little book about it, and it was called Peace of Mind. And he said, forgiveness is not about condoning anybody's action. Forgiveness has nothing to do with them. It is for ourselves. It is the way that we become free. It's the way that we allow, once again, that great flow of love to come from us. He said, what the perpetrator does with your forgiveness is not your responsibility. It's not. Your responsibility is to forgive for yourself. And I tell people that and they still say, yeah, but. So I'm inviting you to choose it, no matter what. Choose to forgive. Choose to do it as many times as it takes until it sticks, right? Until you go and you think about that person or that situation and it can walk unmolested through the halls of your mind. And then you're free. Then you're free. Another really big one that we don't often think about is this. Just say it. Just express the love you feel. When you see how amazing somebody is, tell them, I love you, you're amazing. When you feel that universal connection with somebody, tell them. We don't express the love that we are because we're afraid of what somebody else might think. We just don't. We kind of bury it. We hide it. But it's the central part of who we are. And I decided a while ago that it was more important for me to express that authentically, that thing that I truly am, than to not express it for fear of what somebody might think. What it does is it touches that part of us that is afraid to be vulnerable. We're afraid that people might reject us. We're afraid they might not take what we say the way we mean it. We're afraid they might think we're strange. And we let our fear cheat us of the opportunity to be who we most authentically are. Love, right? We let fear keep us from tapping into that fuel that lets us live the most full and free and fully expressed lives we can possibly lead. So just say it. Don't worry about what somebody thinks. I did get a little self-conscious a while ago. I have a new person in my congregation, and she's just so fabulous. She's just so fabulous. And I just walked up to her and I said, Asia, I love you. And I planted a big kiss on her cheek. And then I thought later, I hope she didn't think I was coming on to her. She wouldn't like that. And I just said to her, honey, I hope I didn't scare you. I just really love you. And she said, you can't scare me, you're my fave. So I could let that fear go and just, I just adored her. I mean, she's fabulous, and I wanted her to know that I knew that. See, I have to realize that the reaction is in me. When I'm expressing from love, what I react to is my fear. If I'm just expressing from love how it lands, it always manages to land the way I mean it. If I don't taint it with my, ooh, won't they think I'm weird? Or whatever it is. If I just let it come from me with purity, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Whenever you try to express love to me and there's something in me that wants to run away, that reaction is my business. Because, it used to be when I became a practitioner that they gave you a little test to find out whether you were a whack job or not. And I passed somehow, miraculously. I don't know how it happened. But it told me that I was so outgoing as to be socially bold, and that I was deeply introverted at the same time. And it took me a long time to learn how to balance those two things. So sometimes the introvert in me gets totally freaked out by people. Y'all do scare me to death sometimes. And I have to go and make some time for me that's quiet, where I can recharge, and then I can come out and play again. But I have to balance those two things. And I have to know that my reaction is me and not you. I can't hold it against you. I have to just know that my introvert is saying, let's go home. And I have to respect that. And then I have to stay and love you until it's time to go home and be alone. And Ernest Holmes, our founder, speaks to this as well. He says, if one sees only unloveliness in others, it's because unloveliness is a strong element in himself. The light he throws on others is generated in his own soul, and he sees them as he chooses to see them. It's a choice we each have to make all the time. How do I choose to see when I look in the mirror, first of all? How do I choose to see when I look at myself in the mirror? And then how do I choose to see when I look at you, or you, or you? How do I choose to see? Do I choose to see from the truth of my own being, the love that I am at my deepest self? Or do I choose to see from some piece of neurotic baggage that I've layered on top of it that's going to make me go, You know, we have to make that choice all the time. Who am I choosing? How am I choosing to see? How am I choosing to see? For me, it's a daily practice. It's a daily practice. It's choosing moment by moment to be who I authentically am. I am an offspring of the love that spoke into being this entire universe. I am at my core love and nothing else. There's really nothing else. So if I choose to come from who I really am, to be love, without justifying being angry or cold or bitter because my tender feelings got hurt, or to be standoffish because my inner introvert is screaming, or what? No, I just choose to be who I authentically am today, and that's love. And it's a practice, like everything that grows us, that everything that makes us spiritually mature, like everything that hones our perception so we can see the miracles. It's a practice. It's the practice of choosing love. And I want to close with some lyrics from a song by Beth Nielsen Chapman. Here's the payoff from all of that. As if being happy and joyous and free wasn't enough, there are further payoffs from choosing love. The lyrics of this song go like this. Years cannot age you. Fear cannot scare you. Pain cannot hurt you. Death cannot kill you. Choose love. Money will spend you and beauty will tempt you. They will fool you. Power will rule you. Choose love. Because years cannot age you, and fear cannot scare you, and pain cannot hurt you, and death cannot kill you. So I invite you today to invite miracles into your life by choosing love. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's time to pray. We have all the practitioners stand up, please. Just take a deep breath with me. And right now I allow the scales to fall from my eyes. And I allow the plugs to fall from my ears so that I see and hear the very truth of the universe. That there's only one thing happening here. There's only God. There's only that one divine power and presence that breathed into being all that exists, and that's so so filled its creation and so loved its creation that somehow it set it up so that this beautiful planet of ours stays just the right distance away from the sun, so that we have these beautiful mornings, so that we wake up every morning and breathe and know that we are, so that all of life on the planet can continue to unfold. That this power and presence that is infinite, that is everywhere and every when filling the universe, also resides in every grain of sand, in every being, in every stone, in every atom, in every subatomic particle. It is not only the particle, but the thing, the glue that holds that subatomic particle wherever it is supposed to be in that atom, and that atom wherever it is supposed to be in that molecule, and that molecule in whatever, just the right place, right where it is supposed to be, so that I breathe and walk and live and speak and think and have my being in the midst of it. And I know that right where I am, that power and presence is, and it is fully present right here and right now in me. It cannot be otherwise. For God is not something that can be chopped into pieces and its love put in one corner of the universe and its creativity put in another. No, where it is, it all is. And so right where I am, all that God is too. And as I know this is the truth for me, I know it is true for everyone here. We are all manifestations of this one life that is glued together by love. Love unconditional, love of infinite proportions, love that never has to be earned, and love that is never qualified. It simply is. It is the air we breathe. It is that quiet force that beats our hearts and breathes our breath. It is the wellspring, the fountainhead of all that we are. And so what I know for this community, these people who are here today, is that today they choose love. Today they let nothing stand in the way of that love expressing in them and through them and as them. When they look in the mirror, they cannot help but break into a giant smile because love is staring them back in the face. When they look into the eyes of each other, their hearts simply flower open because all they see is love. And I know that this love in this community continues to grow in brilliance, in brightness, in strength, in power, and it becomes such a beacon and a light in this valley that this place is too small to contain it. The people that are looking for a place where they can be all that they came here to be, where they can be the precious, unique gift that they are to the universe, they're drawn here like iron filings to a magnet. I know that this community blossoms and flowers and grows and thrives and becomes such a force for love because it already is love. And as each person who is part of it learns to channel that love more completely, free of baggage, free of mistaken thinking, free of judgment, that love becomes the most powerful force in the universe. And because I know this and can see it so clearly, I just say thank you, God. Oh, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity for me to come home to people that I have loved for years, to a place that gave me back a life I never imagined possible. Thank you for this opportunity to spend time with those in leadership here, so that we could open our hearts together and let the future in. Thank you for this beautiful community and everyone in it. There is such love here. Thank you, Spirit, for life itself. This amazing adventure that at times is so exasperating and at other times is so clearly a vast expression of love. In deep gratitude, I just let all this go. I let every one of these words fall into the infinite law of mind, and I know it's already so. It is done. All we have to do is let it be. All we have to do is let it pour through us into the world. And so in order to ground this, in order to invite it into our very beings, we say together, and so it is. Amen.